Thank you very much, Satmak. Usually, when you carry out an act that is out of compassion, sometimes because people don't have the entire story, it could be misinterpreted. About 4 months ago, I went to Giblet village, where I come from, in order to attend a function. In the course of attending that function, I got a visit from a community around Jack. This included, Jack is a village between Isabor and Lankam. And one of the people that came was the Ardo of the Fulani. The Ardo is usually the head of the community of Fulani in a particular area. And he came to me, wanting to understand exactly what was going on related to politics, etc. And I asked him a question after we discussed, and he said, they are going to support Dr. Dakum for Governor 2023. And I said, well, that's good. But I have a question for him. And the question is, what exactly would your community want? What would you as a person want as a Fulani from a governor in order to be part and parcel of the peace process in Plateau State? Or what do you want to benefit as a result of your participating in politics? And it was interesting because for me, he reverted back to his faith. He is a Muslim, and he did say that one of his greatest ambitions is to be able to go to Mecca. And therefore, if the governor would sponsor him and a few others to Mecca, he's going to be a happy man. And I looked at him walking on one leg, and I asked him, what's the problem with your leg? And he said, about 5 years ago, on a motorcycle, they had an accident, and he fractured the thigh bone. And ever since then, he has been unable to walk properly. Well, as a doctor, I felt, his life could be better. And from my heart, I felt so sorry and sad. And, the Bible would describe it as compassion, And I felt, how could he be moving about with a fractured leg for 5 years? And when I felt it palpated it with my hand, the two pieces of bone, the broken bones, had not joined. It means then that he can't step on that leg. It means any pressure on that leg or any movement results in a lot of pain. And I asked him, how do you sleep? He says that sleep is a major issue for him because if in the night he turns, he gets sharp pains. And I said, okay. Well, what have you done about it? He said he's gone to about 3 different hospitals and it has not, nothing has happened. It's still where it is. He said, okay. So here is my proposition. If God wills it and I become governor of Plateau State, I'm not going to pay for you to go to Mecca as my first priority. My first priority will be for us to fix your leg, to figure out how to ensure that we get doctors that can fix this leg so that your quality of life becomes better. My second priority for you and your community is to see how, along with other local people, indigenes that have got interest in livestock development, we provide the framework for a proper private sector livestock development so that you will now have the number of cows your father used to have, because I know his father. They were all born in Mupun land. And I said, if you now get your livestock back on track, you would have enough money to be able to pay for yourself to go to Mecca. I did tell him that it is not a difficult thing. You have more livestock, you have a milking station, material equipment given to you, you have a borehole in that area. It means then that your cows do not have to move from any point to any point. And as a result of that, you don't have the issue of straying into people's funds. And even if you do, you are part of this place, you are going to be able to settle the case amicably. So I think that will be my priority for you. First, we take care of your health. Secondly, we take care of your livelihood. And thirdly, you take care of your faith, because that's what it is supposed to be. And where there is an enabling environment and funding, of course, I'm going to ensure that we support you and your colleagues to fulfill the obligations of your faith.
That's right.
That was it. And now I told him one thing. I said, you know what? This leg and pain will not wait for me to become a governor. And the question is, what if I don't? Because only God knows who is going to be the governor. So if I don't, would we now sit down as fellow human beings and see you suffer in pain every day? I said the answer is no. So we got to do something about your leg. And therefore I got my brother, who is a professor of surgery, and got him involved. I said, whatever it will take, I'm going to look for funding to take care of this man's leg. And that was what we did. We got some funding, got him to the teaching hospital here in Jos. The leg were fixed. And now he can not yet step in on the leg, but at least, check x-rays have been done. And whenever the doctors feel that it is now okay for him to step on the leg. Remember, it's not been healed for 5 years. So it will take a little while for it to be properly healed for him to step on it. But at least he sleeps very well now. Now, as a result of that, himself and 5 other Ardos from the central zone, from Okos, from Kanam, from Kanke, from Pangshin, from Mangu, they all got together to come and say thank you for this benevolent act. It was not even a Salah greeting. It was simply a visit to say thank you, because he had asked, when am I coming to town? I said, I'm coming during this period. And he said, they intend to visit. I said, that's fine. For me, there is a story in the Bible, and the story is normally referred to as the Good Samaritan. Right. And whenever there are issues, either in the community or with individuals, the question I try to ask myself is, who am I in that story? Am I the Levite? Am I the priest? Or am I the Good Samaritan? And who do I want to be? But above all, who amongst this will God want me to be? And I bet that he will want me to be a Good Samaritan. And it does not matter where your faith or who you are is. If you have a need, the expectation is, as fellow human beings, we should ensure that we help one another. Of course, I took the opportunity of their being there to talk about the fact that there needs to be a proactive measure by the Fulani community in ensuring that issues related to, banditry, issues related to, cattle rustling, and issues related to sheer wickedness are, they become the agents of preventing all of that. And I think that for me, if you want to solve a problem of a community, if you do not involve those that are active participants, the likelihood of success is very little. And therefore, I called on them and I requested them to be part and parcel of a peace process. Well, but just wait a minute and listen to this. Yesterday, I just came in from my village, Jiblik, and I went for the APC World Congress. And I was supposed to see my chief early in the morning, but he told me that, please, can I delay and come in a little later? And I asked, he said he is settling an issue between some farmers and the local Fulani there. Guess who was at the vanguard and leading the team to ensure that, restitution is done by the Fulani that allowed their cows into the farms around the village? It's the same Ardo that that had his legs fixed. He was the one that was leading the pack of the Fulani to ask, where is the destruction that took place? What are the restitution process? And they are part and parcel of solving the problem. When I came in, they had just finished the first phase of meeting. They are continuing the next phase of meeting next week. And the issue will be resolved. They've gone back to their place. The farmer has gone back to their place. They all went out together on the resolution that we will together solve this problem. It will not lead to anybody being killed. The farmer is not going to lose value for whatever crops that the cows went and ate. And the Fulani man is not going to, will take measures to ensure that this doesn't happen, because they will pay back for the loss. So right from when some of us were kids, there had been mechanisms for fixing this. Unfortunately, those mechanisms broke down as a result of a lot of criminal elements. And for me, sometimes also as a result of people, just sheer banditry, right, and wanting to be agents of destruction. And so for us, we must collectively look for whoever is a criminal from wherever and ensure that they are dealt with, whichever place they come from.
Right. So, given the fact that Plateau State faces a sort of conflicts here and there, pockets of attacks, the issue hasn't been resolved till date, and we've had so many people killed, especially in the villages, and farm crops destroyed. From your own point of view, what do you think is the solution to the fact that Plateau State faces these problems?
For me, I think I will use the Chinese proverb that says, how do you eat up an elephant? One bite at a time. So what do I mean by that? Each of the communities must be, what I'll say, crisis ready. And what I mean by that is twofold. One is proactiveness. I've just given you an example of what happened in Giblik village just yesterday. Cows went into a farm. The matter is now being settled. The farmers are going to get value for their cows, for their crops that were destroyed. No cow is lost. No farmers' crop will be paid for by the Fulani that did it. Okay? That's proactiveness and being crisis ready, that once something like that happens, it is taken care of. Now, the other is enforcement of peace. And by enforcement, I mean physical protection of, legitimate property and land of people. How do we do that? For me, it is a combination of strengthening the vigilante, strengthening the intelligence network using Operation Rainbow to the level that they can be funded to ensure that they are an active, agency that provides information, actively working with the Director of State Security, the Directorate of State Security, and the Nigerian Police. Now, the vigilante, you will notice, are allowed to carry Dane guns. Every village has one. But the Dane guns are not the equipment that bandits use. They use sophisticated weapons. Therefore, we must strengthen them with NSCDC personnel who are legitimately allowed to carry guns in crisis-prone areas. So there must be enforcement. But lastly, it will be impossible for you to be proactive, that is, prevent conflict, enforce peace, without administering justice. So it means then that there must be an active search for people who are criminal elements. And then when they are caught and when they are prosecuted, people should know. People should be told that we have already gotten this bandit, we have prosecuted the bandit, we have found the bandit guilty, and whatever the laws of the land, prescribed for enforcement are done. That's in the context of the current security architecture of Nigeria. But I belong to the proponents that say that security architecture will not provide us with the kind of security that we so desire, unless we go to the other next level that we have all been yearning for, and that is a proper decentralization of the policing system of Nigeria. I do a lot of travel because I do have an academic appointment at the University of Maryland. Now, the University of Maryland, for example, has its police system. Armed police. The police chief for the university is appointed by the vice chancellor, or there they call it the president of the university. It's not posted from the FBI or posted from, no. He's the staff of the university. Him and the entire police force. When his position becomes vacant, it is advertised and people apply. The state of Maryland has its police. The police chief is rated by the rise or fall of the crime rates in the state. He is fired by the state if the crime rate is going up, and his position advertised. And they go and look at a police chief in another state that is doing very well. They lobby him to apply for the position, and they bring him. The measuring stick for that police commissioner is the drop or rise in crime rate. I listened to a good friend of mine, a retired AIG in Alegu. I listened to him on channels and he made a lot of sense. That if you are funding or providing support to the police, the question is you are providing the support so that what will happen? What's the outcome? The outcome should be that these indicators of crime, the number of kidnappings, the number of banditry, the number of local stealing, the number of fighting, those numbers should fall. Right. If you go to police station, they have the data, the statistics. They will tell you we have a reported case of home breaking, X number. We have a reported this of murder, X number. We have a reported banditry attacks, X number. They have the statistics. Who is finding out if those statistics are going down or up? And how is it related to the funding? I had discussed that before, but when put in that way, I found it a very good way of monitoring your security funding. So you tell me, I say, what do we need to ensure that all this touch and go crime is reduced? So, well, we need this for support. We need the vigilante to do this. We need Operation Rainbow to do this. We need police. We need the joint task force to do this. What will it take? We need X amount of money. Okay, let us look for the X amount of money. We provide that X amount of money, or we provide a percentage of X amount of that money. We should see a commensurate fall in the rate. We should now go back to the police stations and ask, has the number of kidnapping gone down? Has the number of attacks gone down? What's the indicator? Because if we don't, sometimes we will be misled, especially with social media frenzy. Right. One incident can become 1,000 incidents. That's right. Because sometimes you find an incident that happened 5 years ago is recirculated as something that happened yesterday. Sometimes you find security alert that I had read 2 years ago, and somebody is sending it and saying they are planning to attack tomorrow. But this very same message circulated about 2 years ago in the same way. So I think that it is a priority number one. I am very, happy or commending the efforts of the government thus far. We are not out of the woods. Just recently, we've had an incident in Bassa, right. But we do not have that high number of incidents that we used to have. We also do not have the mass attack that we used to have. We need to do a lot, but we need to also appreciate what has happened so far. This government of Lalong has been able to now promote peace to the level where, there was a time that there are areas you can't go in this just. You just wouldn't be able to go there. Yes. Now it has reduced. Right. It has not gone. It is still there. So it means there's still a lot of work that we need to do, because we will not get to zero, because no community has gotten to zero. Even if you go to the US, crime is still taking place at various levels. There they are battling with gun violence, Here it is a different thing. So stealing, banditry is an age-long thing, but we must be able to curtail it to a point where it is not stopping us from going to our legitimate farms. Right. It is not stopping us from carrying out our daily activities. And that together as a community, we're able to attack